to. It's October, y'all. We're kicking off the holiday season right. I am super excited to be posted in the studio with your main man.
Action Jackson, and let me tell you something.
You talking real slow.
I know, because I had to catch my thought. I ain't no fighter, but if somebody mess with my Tammy, I'm either gonna fight them or have to pay somebody to whoop them for me.
You know what? Help the bear. I got this.
Save your money.
Save your money. Save your
So I put that up about my brother. Somebody commented, "Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna pay somebody to do it."
I know, right, y'all? We got a great show for you today, of course. And always do. You know, last night's debate, the vice president.
Oh Lord, that's why I was talking slow.
Everybody was talking about the vice president debate. Not me. I wasn't talking about it. Now, Pam Cordier, of course, you know, she's a big wig up here at iHeart. She was talking about the debate, and I said to her in my mind, I didn't actually say it to her because you know I don't want no smoke. Right? Yeah. In my mind, I'm thinking, are you serious? You really watching this? But for all practical purposes, I hear that it was a big hit. So we're gonna talk about that today. Of course, we got a great show for you. It was a big hit.
It was good.
It was good. All right. Well, you know, I'm one to be receptive to whatever the public opinion is, and then formulate my own. I don't know how to see it.
Oh, you know what? Well, I barely watched it. Are we talking about that in the segment, or are we talking about that now?
We can talk about it whenever you want to.
Oh well, you know it's your day, so y'all want no smoke.
No, I'm ready for the smoke.
I already know, so I don't want it from you today. I want it when you ain't ready for it. But
I'm already ready.
I was watching it, but of course I was in the hospital, and MJ was really talking, but then I realized it was a little boring. So it was
a snoozer.
It was a snoozer.
Snoozer alert.
But I will say, and I hate to say this, but I will say, J.D. Vance came off looking really competent,
Yeah.
good, polished, a politician, like what we have not seen in a while. The debate was
I just want you to be mindful that he's not running for president. That person that his running mate doesn't necessarily look like him.
But we have to be mindful of this. The vice president is important because if the president is not able to do his job, then guess what? That is our next president. Hence, Kamala Harris is now at the top of the ticket. Right. So you got to pay attention to who the VP candidates are because they could be the president of the United States.
Are you saying that because Trump is 77 years old?
Oh, well, that is the case because in 4 years they could be saying, "Sit down, Trump," and then now JD is doing it. Well, no, this is only Trump. This is last term running anyway. So JD Vance, what happens is like Biden. He could run for president in 4 years.
So let me ask you this, and this is really pivotal for you because you've been a strong Trump supporter, a strong Republican supporter, and a lot of people. And there's nothing wrong with that.
We didn't say no names.
You should support who you want to support. But, yes. But a lot of people are. You have something to say?
Yeah, I do have one thing to say because I did watch it last night.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that JD is a bit of competition.
For Walz?
For Walz.
And for Kamala.
I don't even like saying that, but he did come off as like he was kind of together.
Listen.
Well, he's a seasoned politician.
Yes.
And he's had a lot of experience. Now, what I did not like about JD, not last night, because as I aforementioned, I did not watch the.
What constitutes season, though? Sorry, I just want to say
experience.
Because he hasn't been in office very long. Right.
But he's been working and galvanizing, and because he hasn't been on the forefront, he has been behind the scenes. So that constitutes seasoned. Well, and you can tell the way he speaks that he knows what he's talking about, except for right after the presidential debate, and he was not facting. He was just talking, and that was disappointing to me. So I'm glad that he made up for it. Because remember, he said something about what Trump said about 25, Project 25, and then he walked it back.
Yeah, and then Trump said he don't talk to JD that much, and then he said the people are eating dogs. So he did lie. He did join the Trump bandwagon, which I don't like a follower because in this position, you definitely need to be a leader. But I will say he came off really diplomatic and confident last night.
Competent and confident.
Yes, when he walked out to see him shake his hand at the end. He made sure he brought his wife up and introduced her to Tim Walz. And then I was like, this is a very nice exchange. But it wasn't as entertaining as a Trump debate.
Well, he's not an entertainer.
Right. So
he is a change maker.
Well, I know, but the point is, so it was back to what real politics should look like in this country.
Leadership.
But Trump has made it very exciting to want to watch debates and watch his press conferences. And I think that's going to affect the vote in November as well. Because unfortunately, our culture likes entertainment. We like reality TV shows. That's why every show now is reality TV. And so we got to pay attention to that. Because voters are saying, oh, that was boring. This is why we need Trump in office.
Well, the thing about it is, and I'm putting all voters on notice, you got to compartmentalize entertainers and change makers. So do you want to be entertained? Beyonce is an entertainer. Do I want her as my president? Not necessarily. And I am a big Beehive fan. But when you talk about people who actually have the experience, who have the know-how, and who have the charismatic way about them to get things done, those are the things that we need to consider when we're talking about who we're going to cast our vote for. Remember, you've lived with these people. You're going to live with these people and their decision making for the next 4 years.
But we live in a culture of influence, right? And you just said Beyonce is an entertainer, but you don't want to be president. But when we look at people like Oprah, who are entertainers, journalists, authors, businesswomen, but then they're the major speakers for the Democratic Party, right? So but those have Taylor Swift and her influence when she's come out. So our people, we live in a culture where people like influence and influencers. And so we've shifted from real wanting policymakers, change agents, like you said, unfortunately. Now, I'm not supporting it because we need to get back to when politicians were tactful, they were competent, they understood policy, they drafted and created policy to affect change for their constituents, not where we're at now, where politicians are saying whatever they want to say to get a soundbite to go viral and to influence an insurgence in their base.
Well, we got some real critical issues, and we need real critical minds to solve these issues, as evidenced in the longshoremen that are on strike right now.
Yes.
Like literally, this is on the precipice of being another catastrophe. And I don't really think people understand how critical this is. If you can't get your goods, guess what? You're not going to be good.
Yeah.
So these are things that we need leadership to come in the fold and fix, not come in and make a soundbite so you can just keep on saying it. So one of the things that I was very proud of during the Democratic convention is that Michelle Obama, of course, to me, she resonated, one of the highest speakers, if not the highest speaker at the convention. Do something. Don't just say something, do something. So when you're talking about and thinking about who you're going to cast your vote for, not the people who are just saying something, but who actually have the verbiage and the know-how to make it happen, meaning do something. And we're getting ready to do something right here. We're getting ready to keep on with the show, y'all. So don't go nowhere. We got way more to share right here on Inspiration 1390.
Hey, my people, ready to level up your kindergarten classroom game? Introducing Effective Kindergarten Classroom Management. Strategy for success. This ain't just any book.
No, at 12:30.
Okay. That was what y'all just talked about. That was Tammy's story.
I got another story.
Oh, no, we need to just go in depth on the strike because
that's what it is.
Right. That's I thought he did.
But we talked
about
it already.
All those people.
Hey, it's your girl Money. Life is full of
How do we who?
I said, how are they going to convince all those people to not strike?
Well, they just need to convince their union president, and he can stop the strike.
Let me set the tone.
The longman strike
for today's exclusive. All right, you ready?
I'm like Freddie. I stay ready.
You stay ready, so he stays ready. Okay, so I'm setting the tone for you. I am in a relationship that's about to dissolve. Not me necessarily. I'm talking about I'm setting the tone for you. And we have children. I love you too. We have children. And it's been a bitter situation. I'm talking about it wherever I am. And unfortunately, my children are hearing this. What do you feel is the best way to handle broken situations in relationships when there are children involved and you are actually disparaging the other spouse. How should we actually address that? If you've been in a broken situation and you're talking about your spouse because you talk about it, that's your release. How do you do that effectively? Or do you just not do it and talk about it to your therapist? Now, me, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna talk about it wherever. But it really impacts your kids. How do you do it? What's up, Vern?
Address it.
Address it? How do you address it?
Address it head on, just.
But not in front of your kids. Or talk to your kids about it?
I think you have a conversation with the child, but in a way that they understand. You're not giving all the extra details, but in an appropriate way that they will understand and can mentally
digest it.
Yeah, digest it in a way where it's not going to be harmful to them.
How do you not harm your child in talking about it? Like, what do you say? The reason this came up as a topic is because there were several kids that came to school and were exhibiting some like abnormal behavior. And then when we dug into a deeper dive as to what the problem was, it was because their parents were experiencing, they were going through a divorce, and one parent was talking bad about the other one, and they didn't realize that they were impacting the child.
You can't do that. Like, you can't argue and fuss and fight in front of his kids.
Yep.
So you have to.
But where it goes down is where it goes down. What do you say?
Demarion, I want you to get some good shots of me. I'm giving you a pose. You're supposed to take the pictures I'm talking about.
I thought so too. He has nothing.
Make sure you get good pictures of me
to say about this topic.
Because I've been going through all our pictures and there's not enough shots of us together.
Can you weigh in on this?
I zoned out when I started texting. I missed them. All I heard was a dissolving relationship with kids.
Yes, but you're talking about the other parent in front of the kids, and you don't really realize what it's doing to the child.
Mentally, like,
oh, that's terrible. That is terrible.
Well, you know, we're solution-based show, so just to say it's terrible, it's not necessarily what we want to talk about or how we do it. How do we do it?
10 seconds.
I agree with what Zoe said. It's like age-appropriate conversation, head-on. Speaking as a child who has an experience like that, my mom waited until I was old enough to understand what she was telling me. She didn't diminish me for mom or my dad or anything like that.
If you are not tuned in on social media, Facebook or Instagram, you might want to tune in because we have exclusive topics that we talk about just on social media. So Facebook, you can join us at Brunch, or you can join me on Tammy T Fair on Instagram. And we have a very viral topic that we're talking about today. But as we touched on earlier in the show, the strike that began day before yesterday, it began at midnight, and it will stop the flow of a wide variety of goods over the docks of almost all cargo ports from Maine to Texas. This includes bananas, European beer, wine, liquor, along with furniture, clothing, household goods, European autos, as well as parts needed to keep the U.S. factories operating and American workers in those plants on the job, among many other goods. It could also stop the U.S. exports now flowing through those ports, hurting sales for American companies. The wide gap remained between the unions depends on the contract offer of the United States Maritime Alliance, which uses the acronym USMX. The Maritime Alliance represents the major shipping lines of all things foreign owned, and terminal operators and port authorities are now on strike. So a lot of people didn't even know what longshoremen were until this strike actually happened. So we encouraged you yesterday. Like we said yesterday, we kind of tipped on the subject. Today we're going to dive into the subject. So people want to know, how does this affect me? Well, if you use toilet paper, which I've dimes to donuts, you do, you probably want to stock up on it. If you use paper towels, dimes to donuts again, you probably do. You want to stock up on those things. Now, foreign cars, especially if you have a foreign car and you're waiting on parts, the wait could be longer depending on how long this strike lasts. And so if it goes on for 1 to 2 months, the world will collapse, said ILA President Harold Daggett in an interview with CNN Tuesday morning. So go blame them. Don't blame me. We don't want to blame anybody. We want resolves. We are.
And he sounds like he is from. I watched the interview.
Oh, you did?
He sound as he was talking, all I could see was Tony Soprano.
And there's a reason why you see Tony Soprano, and that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Well, I did some research on this because we said earlier you need elected officials that understand policy, what's going on. So if you got a president that doesn't understand what a longshoreman is or how it affects her, you better be careful who you're voting for. Then they could put us in a very bad position because he said, we will stop this is what the union labor president said. Keep playing with us. We will mess this country up because everything in America, he said, even American made have pieces and parts coming from China.
This is true.
He said, so everything that's done, even if it's say made in America, he said, trust me, they had something is going to be missing and it's going to affect everybody. So they are asking for significantly higher wages, 77% pay raise over 6 years, which to me seems like a lot of money as an increase. 77%.
That's huge.
That's
almost 100%.
Right. Like, woo! As a small business owner, you ask a 77% increase.
I'm out.
And for that reason, I'm out. Ban on automation. I saw a video of a port that was fully automated, and it was so crazy because the not the tractors, what are the containers that the freight containers that carry the loads on the ships, you could see in the port yard they had these automated, like, I don't even know what to call them. They were like little cars that were maneuvering through the port. Mm-hmm. They do not crash into each other. So what it showed was like how our world is going to be on autonomous driving sooner than we think, right? Now, my Tesla drives itself. Do I ever cut that feature on? Heck no. I got it because I like technology and I wanted it, but I never use it. But they don't want, so they want the U.S. longshoremen, and they're saying they want a ban on automation, period. A complete halt on the automation of cranes, gates, and container movements to protect jobs, which is kind of crazy because we live in a world where change happens, technology happens, right? I don't think it should be a complete halt on it.
Yeah, but they're talking about protecting over 25,000 jobs. 25,000 jobs will significantly impact the economy, and particularly along the Eastern Seaboard. Now,
California, but if you ever imported through the ports, right? And you done got some stuff shipped, right?
Some stuff. This is really affecting me.
I know, but watch this. How long does it take for our stuff to get through customs and into the port sometimes?
It depends. It depends on what it is. So if it's coming by sea, of course, it's going to be longer. So you're looking at 60 days. If it's coming by air, your time is shut down. And it also depends on your vendors, because they have a way of getting it through the ports. And I'm talking about legally. Yeah. They have a way of getting it through the ports where you don't even know what's going on at the port side. But I kind of understand totally, because I've been not a proponent of 5G, because I saw what it was doing to American jobs and jobs all over the world when you think about it. Because remember, about 6 years ago, so we've been on the air 8 years, so about 6 years ago, when I was acting a lot, and I was going through Midway, and I saw two kiosks where you could actually self check in and put your bags in. Then the next week I went, and there were 10 kiosks. Mm-hmm. Now there are 4 people and 50 kiosks. So all of those kiosks actually represent a job loss. So I totally understand why they're doing it.
I mean, I get it, but watch this.
77% is huge.
Right, 77% increase. But watch this. They're asking for the fair compensation to address the sacrifice of long hours, often to 100 hours per week working, right? You wouldn't have to work 100 hours per week if you had better technology to help get the job done. Mm-hmm. So now you got to say, all right, we want a pay increase. We want job security. Of course, you're in the union, so you get some job security, right? But you're going to work less hours for more money.
But when you break it down, because the way that they've structured it, they want a 50% over proposed 6-year contract. So that's really only a $5 an hour pay increase each over the 6 years, which the pay tops at $39 to $69. And it would equate to 77%. But when you think about the impact that it's going to have on America and possibly the world, I'm gonna take you back. Remember when Thailand was holding the chips hostage?
Mm-hmm.
How that impacted the world?
Yeah.
People couldn't get anything, and that's extended over 5 months.
Now watch this. I don't know if this is a political move, and we could talk about this the whole hour, but we got to be very careful because when we got a candidate where their entire rhetoric is bring manufacturing back to the U.S., this issue right here is a campaign staple that he can really ride on because we shouldn't be so dependent on foreign countries that this stuff happens, like China. If they decide to say, hey, no more, then we screw, we have to be a country that we're not dependent on people, right? We always tell our outside forces, yes. Right? So, it's very interesting. The effects, there is a temporary cooling off period that was enacted in the Taft-Hartley Act. It's a court-ordered 80-day cooling off period. But he even talked about that in the interview. He said, yeah, you want to do the cooling off period? We're going to cool off. He said, I'll be back. My men ain't coming. And after the cool off period, we still ain't doing no work.
And that's what a cool off is. So a lot of things that are also being impacted is perishable items like cherries. And those cherries, they move those on the ports, and like large percentage of imported wines, beers, hard liquor, raw materials used for producers who make food in the U.S., such as cocoa, sugar, and that makes up a huge portion of what is affected at the ports.
Yep.
But
don't go into a frenzy just yet.
But that definitely be proactive.
Be proactive. If the port strike lasts more than a month, that's when American consumers could face shortages of certain goods, especially those relying on imported products. Manufacturers such as, of course, you said the car industry, pharmaceutical industry. Oh, I hate to see some people not be able to get that. But then that's a problem too. Like, why are we dependent on our drugs to come from other countries? And we got the highest drug costs in the world. So
But that might be a unintended positive consequence.
It could be,
And the reason I say that is because if we look to our offshore counterparts as to what they're doing, because they are actually curing diseases, we are treating symptoms, and that's why our drug costs are so much higher. But one thing that people can be rest assured is that it won't impact the Christmas holiday unless it lasts till next Christmas.
Then I'm moving out the country.
Well, the last thing that I was going to say that 200 businesses sent a letter to the White House last week asking Biden administration to step in and prevent the strike, saying that the country relies on moving both imports and exports through these ports in order to keep their businesses alive. 200 businesses is really big when you're talking about the kind of businesses that are included in these 200 letters. But you know what? Keep an eye on it, or just keep your radios and
we got to pray.
Tuned in to us, because we're going to keep you updated as it continues to go. So now, for those of you who are in the hair industry, your hair might be really impacted by this. And for me, hey, that's big.
Listen, Reverend Evans said, and I keep quoting it, God rest his soul, but he said this in the 90s, and it is so relevant today. In the song Have You Got Good Religion, he said, we are living in crucial times. Yes. The times in which we live. You don't know what politicians are going to do. Wars are happening all over the world. Iran and Israel have launched attacks yesterday.
Yes.
It is, you got the port closures. You got viruses that I ain't never heard about. And as Tammy said yesterday, people are dying that ain't never died before. John Amos, God rest his soul, just was announced he died yesterday. Well, they announced he passed away yesterday, but he's been gone up to glory since August.
Which is crazy. I had the opportunity to actually sit down with him through an entire party John Amos was one of the nicest, most real people you ever want to meet. I was at Eddie Murphy's house, and
I thought you about to say Diddy house. I was about to say, cut the mics.
See, and on that, we'll be right back. Chrissy talking about, oh no, not the hair.
Yeah.
That's
this
right.
Is song?
The hair.
This ain't the guest song, is it?
No.
Oh.
You can bring the guests in. Yes, the hair too. Hey, Tori. Hey, Christy. Hey, King. Thank you, guys. Staying in your lane. What's going on, Tina?
Why would you say Diddy house?
Please. I said Eddie Murphy. You didn't think I was going to say Diddy.
I don't know, I mean, I don't know, but you know everybody. Welcome. Come on in.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you, Tamara. Tremel, nice to meet you.
You can have a seat, Tremel.
Hi, Rebecca. I saw you downstairs.
Yes, I did.
Hi, Carlos. Welcome to the brunch lunch.
What happened to Adam?
I'm not sure.
He left.
Where'd he go?
He
He said what?
He was like, I got to step out on that note earlier. And then I ain't seen him since. Okay, so.
I thought he was behind me.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, what happened?
This is terrible that I didn't know.
Arnetta said, no, that Vance is an avid debater, and Waltz is not. Waltz pulled out the TKO in the last round when needed, and yes, it was boring.
Listen, politics is not supposed to be a concert. It's not a comedy show. It is impacting lives, guys.
Stay in your lane says some stuff can be automated like paperwork, not human labor.
Exactly.
But here's the issue. We will be so far behind if we don't go with the technology curve, right? The world is moving. We're
so far ahead that it's, let me tell you something.
But now I got to find that port video. When you see that port that was automated.
I get it. I see how my vacuum cleaner runs through the house.
Yeah. See, you put a maid out of business.
No, I didn't. Because she still got to come. But you know what? Like, automation is supposed to be an enhancement, not a replacement. And so if we continue to work along those lines, then we're protecting jobs, but we're also making life easier. But life is not supposed to be replaced by machines, because that takes the spirit of what life is really about out of living.
But here's the deal. Even if it's not a machine, right? When I was younger, somebody used to always ask me, why would you go to the barbershop every week? I said, one, because I don't know how to cut hair. They said, well, learn how to cut your own hair. I said, I will be putting my barber out of a job if I learn how to cut. But we do that, right? We learn how to do our own hair, our own nails, and we don't go pay somebody to do it. But that's not technology. That's us saving $1. So technology that's here to help move efficiently, let's
Let
use
me take you back 9 years ago, 6 years ago, when there was a school that went technical. Now, most of the teaching jobs were gone because of technology, right? So they were learning remotely. Now, granted, they did have learning outcomes that exceeded that of teachers that were in person, but it took the spirit out. So that's why you see so much rise in crime, because we don't feel each other's pulses anymore. We don't feel the heartbeat. So when I come to shoot you, I'm okay with that, because I really haven't understood that you are a thinking, spirited human being, because my technology-based living has taken that out.
That's very true.
So we have to really understand that the preservation of life does not necessarily mean the convenience of life.
Yes.
We have to understand how to work together. Technology cannot be ran on its own. It's just, so if the port is automated now, whoever works the port needs to go learn how to run the remote control to help automate it or fix it when it breaks down. Like we got drones now, right? The drones don't just fly themselves.
Drones can fly themselves if, like, say 3 people were flying drones, right? But let's say you are the last man standing and you've actually programmed the drone as to when it's supposed to fly. Now, sis and bro over here, they can go somewhere. because their job is gone, and you actually can go home now because you've already programmed. When they call you back, it's because there was a glitch in that matrix, right? But they still out of a job. So now, what about their families?
Exactly.
Unfortunately,
she got a point.
That is a great point. But companies downsize all the time. You got to be able to pivot. You have to have the gift to shift. Life keeps moving. If an industry,
and that's not going to impact him until he can't wipe his butt.
Blockbuster went out of business because they did not want to buy Netflix and didn't want to move into streaming. That's their fault. But thousands of people lost their jobs across the world. But they had to figure it out. I'll tell you what's going on. So what's going on is we have Chicago-based gospel recording artists with a powerful voice and a passion for ministry. That's none other than Tremel Hoover joining us here on the Brunch Bunch. He's known for his inspiring singles, I Made It and Clean Me Up. Tremel blends his deep love for God with his musical talent to touch lives around the world. By day, he works in business banking for the U.S. Bank. Woo, 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 woo. But in his heart, he is also in gospel music, performing across genres with two bands while staying rooted in his church community. Tremel's goal is not just to sing, but to minister and uplift through the power of music. Let's give another I said a norm. Let's give another warm Brunch Bunch welcome to Tremel Hoover.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited and humbled to be here. Thank you.
So before we jump in this interview, I got a quick joke. See, an automated person can't mess up introducing him like that. That would make radio terrible the way I thought.
That would make radio real.
Right. So that's why we got to keep real people in these real positions. But listen, Tremel, we're so glad to have you. I was blessed to meet you when I was invited on the U.S. Bank Access Tour, where I got to really learn about the bank and meet the bankers. And there's nothing like having a banker that's saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost.
You ain't lying.
And Tremel came up to me at the bar. No, we were at the restaurant and we were talking, and he told me about his music and his single. And I said, well, we would love to have you as a guest on the Brunch Bunch. And so we're glad to have you. What was the moment you realized that singing gospel was more than just a passion for you, but also a calling?
When I realized gospel was more than just a passion, it was a calling. I was actually a little boy, and I grew up in First Church of Deliverance, and I actually grew up watching my grandmother, Eskin Smile. She was a big soloist in the church choir back then, especially for over 50 years. But me growing up watching her, I said I always wanted to be like her, watching my aunt, Capricia Smiles, Garrett sing. And I said, I just love to sing. And so I sang as a kid, but when I really got into like my teenage years and I really built a true relationship with God, and I learned that every time you step up to sing, it's not just about singing, it's also about ministering to God's people, because people are hurting, people are broken. And that's one of the things that gave me joy in doing it, because I knew that God would speak through me to minister to somebody else.
That's
so
beautiful.
It wasn't just singing just to sing. A lot of these gospel artists, they get up and they sing and they do runs. But for me, it was about truly, truly ministering. And that's one thing my grandmother always instilled in me as a kid. She said, my nickname was TJ, said, TJ, it's not just about singing. It's about ministry. She said, no matter how you sound, she said, even if you sick, she said, if you are asked to sing and you are called to sing, you get up there and you give God your best, and God will bless you.
He definitely will.
Yeah, so that's when I realized it, and I realized I had a passion and a calling for it.
And you know what? Songs are healing. You can find healing in poetry. You can find healing in books. You can also find healing and deliverance in a song. So now you've got a new single out.
Yes,
Clean
I do.
Me
Yes, I do.
Up.
Yes, I do.
Can you tell me the story behind the single, and how has this song been a personal testimony to you and your life's journey?
So actually, the real story behind the single Clean Me Up. So my church that I attend, a Greater House of Prayer Church, and my pastor, Bishop-elect, Bishop Galen W. Leverett, and my co-pastor, Evangelist Deborah Lever.
All right. Go ahead. I love that.
Yes, and side note, my bishop actually will be elevated next Saturday. So he's going to have his elevation service, and we're so excited for it. He's going to be elevated to a bishop. So we are so excited for that at the church. But anyway, the single came about. So it was back in 2018. Bishop had reached out to me and he said, I want you to sing for the Father's Day banquet that they have every year. And I said, well, Bishop, I don't have a new song out at the time. Like, I don't have anything written. And so
I'm going to just say, you don't have to have a new song. You can keep on singing the same ones.
I mean, you can, but I had just sang that previous
before
year.
Before I let go.
I had sang I Made It. So I was like, I don't have anything out. And so one of the things that he said, well, ask God to give you a song. And I was talking to my brother Isaac. I said, well, what do I do? He said, ask God to give you a song. And I was driving. And at that time, I was at a place in my life where some of the things with me wasn't right. Mm-hmm. And I was literally driving, and I was working for Enterprise at the time, and I was in the car and I was driving, and I sang the chorus to Clean Me Up. It just came naturally, and I pulled over and I pulled out my phone and I just recorded a voice memo of me singing that song. And then it just came naturally. And then I put the lyrics into perspective and everything like that. But then years went by and I never did anything with the song until 2020. Zach, one of the producers, he said, so you haven't done, Clean Me Up? You haven't recorded it? Like, what's going on? We need to do something with this. And so we put it out there, and it's been a blessing. And the night before the song was released, I prayed and I asked God, I said, God, let this song just not be a song just to be played, but let it be a song to minister to people and to get the message out there. Because so many people are broken and they're hurting and they're asking for God to clean them. And that is something that I wanted to do, because anytime I write a song, anytime I sing a song, I want it to minister to me so I can minister to others.
Of course. I love it.
I love it. Well, you know what? We're going to launch this song on the Brunch for the first time right here. It is Tremel J. Clean Me Up. Don't go nowhere. We got way more to share right here on the Brunch.
Okay, guys, for those of you who are listening on social media, listening on the radio and also on social media, I want you all to tell us authentically if you love this song. If you don't, just shut up. Just kidding. Oh, beautiful voice.
Thank you so much. Make me more like you.
Yes.
Create in me a clean heart so that I may live for you.
So Frankie Beverly didn't have a new song in
everything
every single year. So
yes, that's true. That's true. He just Bishop like original music. I was like,
Lord, I want to worship you.
Thank you, Christy. I don't know where he even got that from. Like, I would actually be, well, I guess I could have been in a Diddy party.
Right, I don't even know what you could have been at a Diddy party.
You don't know.
I
was almost at a Diddy party.
You was R. Kelly's manager at one point.
But R. Kelly and Diddy weren't close like that.
But in the industry back in the day, I'm sure they hung a couple of times.
Maybe I wasn't there though.
Right.
Just so you know, I wasn't there though.
Tina said, preach, sang. Isaac Williams said, I love this song.
Tina, that's my brother, and I minister music.
Tina said, beautiful, you better sing.
You better sing, not sing, sing. All right, Instagram, are y'all commenting on this song? Because I don't see any comments. Come on through now.
Tomorrow, give pictures. Make sure you're getting the whole room in the shot from both angles.
Okay, Christy, I'll tell you about the Eddie Murphy party with John Amos. I'll tell you about it.
Prime Jr. said, gospel hit, Tremel Hoover.
Yes, that's my boy Prime.
Yes, this is an amazing song.
Thank you.
Make me more like you.
Oh, okay.
Christy says, beautiful song.
Okay.
You say you want to take the tone?
Oh.
Okay, don't worry, man. We got 10 minutes. I need an usher with the smelling salt. DJ Brandon said, I am downloading the music now. This is a really nice song. And I'm not lying.
It was, like I said, my personal prayer, my personal just pray for God to clean.
So, if you don't know, the SOAR Awards, are you familiar? They're looking for independent artists. So, you got to connect for their awards this year. Okay. And they're doing it in Chicago.
Okay. How do I do this?
I'm going to give you the info.
Okay.
I just found out yesterday. I talked to the producer of the awards. Yeah.
Okay.
Who cut my light on over here? Or was it saying I'm getting dark? See, technology working my camera. It's moving with me. I'm going to have to figure out, can this go on a tripod? No, I'm talking about cut out.
No, I'm saying that's what it is. It's a monopod.
Oh, it will. So I can hook this to that tall. I'm waiting on my man to get him some, he's supposed to have it. Just like gimbals. Boy, this works good. Clean me up, oh God, make me more like you. Clean me. That was Tremel J. Not new. It's his newest single. Been out for a few years, but it's making a resurgence. And you know what? That is actually a powerful prayer, to ask God to make me more like you and to clean me. And when we ask that, then people start going away, things that we used to do, things we used to say. And you like, wait a minute, why I don't want that drink no more? Well, you ask God to clean you and he's removing those things. So it's such a powerful song for such a time as this, because the world that we're living in, we need to be more like him. Listen, Tamara, wasn't that a...
Oh, I mean, it's beautiful. Like literally, like you said, that the sentiment was so that it would minister to people, because sometimes you hear songs and it doesn't necessarily give you the next step in your life. This one definitely takes you next step. That's right. Next level. And not to mention that you have a melodic, fantastic voice.
Thank you.
You better come on and like they said on Instagram and Facebook, you better sing.
Listen, Tina said I need an usher with the smelling salts. DJ B-Lord saying he's downloading it. But so we just heard Clean Me Up. It has reached people across the globe.
It has.
Can you share a testimony or experience from someone who has been touched by this song?
Someone who has been touched by this song. It was actually a couple of days after the song was released. I had received a message from someone. And she told me, she said, Tremel, she said, I downloaded your song. And I still have the message to this day. She said, I downloaded the song. She said, you don't understand. Last night, I was on the verge of ending my life. She said, and I found that song and I played it. And she said, it brought me to tears. And it just made me realize that I really just need a cleansing. And it brought me closer to God. She said, so I thank you for putting that out there to be able to minister to me and so many others. And, that touched me. It touched me because just to hear that your music inspires so many people, it just makes you want to keep singing. No matter how many masses that it reaches, it may not reach Billboard or whatever, but wherever it reaches, as long as it can speak to someone, I know that I've done my work and my calling. And I've done what God has
I'm going to rebuke that. It's going to reach billboards.
Yeah.
It's going to reach the masses. It's going to be translated into different languages.
I'm talking about it in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. But when it comes to songwriting, what is your creative process like? A lot of times people have a song that's burgeoning inside of them and they never get it out. But you're not only a healer, you're a teacher too. So teach people who are listening, how do you get that song in your stomach out your mouth?
So one of the things when it comes to songwriting for me, I try to use it as what I'm going through in my life at that time personally. And I can be anywhere. I've written songs from having a dream. God has given me songs in a dream. And I've literally woke up singing that song in my head. And I will pull out my phone. I will write down the words. I will record a voice memo of how I wanted to sing, how I wanted to sound, sleepy voice and all. But I do it because that is the thing I tell people all the time. When it comes to writing music, especially gospel music, you don't want to just write anything, but you want to write something that comes from your heart and what you've been through. So that way you can minister it to other people, because you don't want to just sing something that you can't feel and that you can't minister.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things about every time I step up to sing. And I thank God for, you know, my bishop-elect and my first lady, co-pastor Deborah Leverett, and my bishop-elect, Bishop Galen W. Leverett, and my minister of music, Isaac Williams, because every time they give me a song to lead, I listen to it and I say, can this minister to people, but can it minister to me? And that's the thing, because I can't sing something that doesn't minister to me, but I also can't write something that doesn't minister to me. And that's the thing.
So it
has to be personal, because if God gives it to you to share, then that means that it's meant for people to hear. So every song that I have written, God has given to me at different times, and I've been able to write those songs and just perfect them. So that's pretty much my advice I would give to anybody that are songwriters. You know, people say all the time, oh, well, I got a beat, but I don't know what to write. If you're passionate about it, you don't need a beat. If you're passionate about it, God will give you the melody. And then once you have the melody, Clean Me Up, I didn't even have a melody to it. I just sang it. And then I reached out to musicians, you know, Zach and Elliot, who produced the song, and they came up with
I
the
love
melody.
it. I love it. From the heart reaches the heart.
Absolutely.
And so that's why we are praying that Clean Me Up goes to the top of the charts. And you come from a gospel legend church, you know, Deborah Leverett, songstress extraordinaire, lead singer, Cosmopolitan Church of Prayer. Father Hayes loved your pastor and first lady. And so you're in the right place at the right time.
And I love them. And I just thank them for everything that they've instilled in me. You know, one of the things that I'll say, I lost my grandmother back in November. And my grandmother was a big-time singer in Chicago at First Church of Deliverance. And one of the things that I made a vow to is I will continue her musical legacy, because I'm standing on her shoulders. And one thing that I'm grateful for, you know, Bishop and First Lady, they have really just allowed me to minister and use my gift. And they don't know how much it inspires me every time they allow me to use the gift that God has given me.
Well, listen, how can they download the song?
How can you give the gift that keeps on giving, which is your music?
You can download Clean Me Up on all streaming platforms. It's available on Apple Music, Pandora, Spotify, Tidal, Shazam, even YouTube. You can download it everywhere. It is available on all streaming purchases. Also on iTunes as well. If you go to CD Baby, any streaming platform that's out there, you can get the song.
And how can they follow you?
They can follow me. You can follow me on Instagram at I am Tremel J. That's IAM TREMELJ, or you can follow me on Facebook at Tremel J or Tremel J Hoover. I have two different pages, but I would love to connect with each and every one of you, because it's a blessing to be able to just connect with people that you've ministered to.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us here on the Brunch Bunch. Tamara, wasn't that amazing?
That was extremely amazing, but it was also very inspiring.
Thank you.
So just, you know what, I'm gonna ask you one last question.
What you got?
So you're a singer and you wear a lot of hats. Are you ever nervous when you get up and sing?
We were just talking about this, me and Becky. So actually,
and we know you're a reverend too. You got 30 seconds, Rev. Come on with it.
Honestly, every time I step up to sing, I am nervous. Believe it or not.
I asked you that because a lot of people are nervous to get up and but do it scared. Is that right?
Yeah.
Do it scared.
Well, we're going to do it scared. We're going to do it confident. We're going to do it
again tomorrow.
Quick, because we're out of time.
Definitely we are out of time. But you know what? We'll be back tomorrow. We want to thank you for coming and joining us and gracing us with this beautiful voice, this beautiful song, this beautiful ministry. And of course, believers, we want you to open your hearts and receive love. You might just get it. You know what? I changed it up. I didn't say what we've been saying for the last 8 years, because 7 is completion. We're about to do some things differently. I love you, Action Jackson.
I love you, Tamara Fair. We love you.
We love you. Baby Eminem.
I thought we were switching it up.
Yeah, you switched it up, all right. Y'all, up next is AC Green, and right after that is Pastor Patterson, another drive home. We do it all night long. We encourage you to download Tremel's music and keep uploading love. Peace.
Stay out there.
Nope, she's switching it up.
You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We truly appreciate it. I encourage you to go download Clean Me Up, because a lot of people are dirty. And I don't mean dirty from
Wait, what?
I'm talking about dirty from the world, dirty from the generational curses that we talked about in the beginning. We dirty from the trauma that you've been through. Clean yourselves up and stay clean. And you know what? You might have to play it more than once. That's why I'm encouraging you to download it. You know, once we start actually supporting each other, we won't need outside support. So let's do it. Let's make this man go viral. Chart topping. That's where we're going to see you. All right, y'all. Peace.
Throwback Thursday tomorrow with attorney India Rios. Make sure you tuned in. We'll see you tomorrow.